That was not an easy problem. Correct answer is 2ab times a minus 6b times a minus 8b. If you got it right, well done. If you didn't get it right, don't worry. We're going to go through it right now. Remember, the first thing that you always want to do when factoring a trinomial is to look for the GCF. And that is the most common mistake that students make, is they forget to factor out the GCF. If you don't factor out the GCF first, you make your life a lot more difficult. Here, when I look at these three terms, first of all, I notice that all three of the numbers are even, and 2 is the largest number, so 2 is going to be part of our GCF. If I look at the variables, I have an a cubed, an a squared, and an a, so the lowest power of a is to the first. I have a b, b squared, and b cubed, so the lowest power of b is just b. When I factor out the GCF of 2ab from our polynomial, what am I left with? 2ab times a squared gives me 2a cubed b. 2ab times minus 14ab. 2ab times negative 14ab gives me negative 28a squared b squared. And 2 times 48 gives me 96a. I need a b squared. So after I factor out the GCF of 2ab, I'm left with a squared minus 14ab plus 48b squared. Now I need to factor this polynomial. For this polynomial, since the coefficient of the a squared term is 1, I need the factors of 48 that add up to negative 14. Since this is a positive number and this is a negative number, I know that both of my factors are going to be negative. A negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative plus a negative gives me a negative. When I think of the number 48, there are several ways to factor the number. The two factors of positive 48 that add up to negative 14 is negative 6 times negative 8. So I can rewrite negative 14ab as negative 6ab minus 8ab. Now that I have four terms, I can factor by grouping. Don't forget to carry down your GCF. Now I need to look at the GCF of a squared and negative 6ab, which is simply a. When I factor an a out, I'm left with a minus 6b. Now I need to factor out the GCF of the second two terms. I know I want my first term to be positive and my second to be negative, so I know I need to factor out a negative. The GCF of 8ab and 48b squared is going to be 8b. What do I need to multiply 8b by? What do I need to multiply negative 8b by to get negative 8ab? Just a. And what do I need to multiply negative 8b by to get positive 48b squared? Negative 6b. Now the last step for factoring by grouping here is to pull out the new GCF, which is a minus 6b. And what do I have left over? A minus 8b. That's how we got the answer. I know these problems aren't easy, but factoring is a key skill for the whole rest of the course, so it's very important that you're able to factor any polynomial to finish this course. So don't get discouraged. It takes a lot of practice. Keep up the good work, and don't worry, you will master factoring. Factoring is a key concept for the rest of this course. We will be using factoring to solve many additional problems throughout the rest of the course. So mastering factoring skills is extremely important. I know it's not easy, but the more you practice, the better you'll get, and you will master factoring.